I probably don't have to tell you that it's only getting more expensive to feed a family these days. If, like me, you've walked into your local grocery market recently, you have been shocked by just how much food costs. Yet we also have to acknowledge that buying food at a store and cooking it yourself is still way less expensive than eating at a restaurant and sometimes even a drive-thru. And perhaps more importantly, when you cook food yourself, you know exactly what's in or not in the food that you make. So yes, while some ingredients remain stubbornly high-priced, I'm looking at you, eggs, the good news is there are plenty of others that can help you feed your family for just a few dollars. Today, I'm going to share 5 great ingredients with you that will help you do just that. All of them are easy to cook, they're nutritious, and well, they can really help you stretch your family's budget. Are you ready? Let's get cooking. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook. And after watching this video, well, you're going to be a more budget-wise cook because all 5 foods I'm sharing with you are not only easy to cook, but they are really inexpensive and nutritious. Now, 4 of these foods are shelf stable. That means that they can last a long time, and you can even buy them in bulk for more savings. And the other food, well, it can be frozen, so it can last almost indefinitely as well. That means if you find these foods on sale, well, you can grab them and save even more money. And the first class of foods is one of my favorites, one that I cook all the time, and that is legumes, aka things like beans and lentils. There are such a wide variety of legumes in the world, it is just incredible, and they are all so inexpensive. And perhaps even better, pound for pound, I cannot think of a food that is as nutritious and inexpensive as legumes. Everything from pinto beans and black beans to chickpeas and navy beans, well, there is just such a wide variety, and there's even varieties of lentils too. Now, legumes and beans, well, they can be found dry like this. They can be found in cans. You can buy them in bulk. And again, they are just so amazing. They're packed with protein, fiber, they're low in fat. And well, if you want to either bulk up a meal or just serve it as a centerpiece, I can think of few other foods that can feed a family as cheaply as beans and legumes in general. You can use them in chilies. You can use them to fill other foods. I mean, the way that you can use beans is just kind of amazing. And if you've never cooked beans from scratch before, like, cans are cheap and all, but if you buy them dried, well, they're even more inexpensive. And if the thought of cooking beans from scratch, that seems too hard, well, the great news is it's not. In fact, I made an entire episode on how to make beans from scratch. It's so easy. I'll link to that video. You can make them in a pot, or even better, the way I do it most of the time is I just put them in an electric pressure cooker like an Instant Pot, and well, you just press a button and literally a couple of hours later, you have beans. And what's great about cooking them yourself that way is you don't have to worry about excess sodium or all those other ingredients that maybe you don't want in your beans. You can flavor them exactly how you want to. But again, beans are one of my go-tos for just a filling, inexpensive, nutritious meal. Another staple that is constantly being cooked in my house is rice. Now, as with beans, there are so many varieties of rice. You're probably familiar with white rice, brown rice, but there's also red rice and wild rice and black rice. There's just so many types of rices. I mean, rice sustains so much of the world's population, and I think it gets a little short shift here in America, but you should be cooking this stuff. Like beans, it can act as a side dish, or it can even act as a foundation for a meal. Of course, it can be served savory, and it can even be served sweet if you do something like my rice pudding brulee. Remember, we made that for dessert and it was delicious. Now, rice also comes together very easily. Of course, you can cook it on a stove or even in an oven. To be honest with you, again, most of the time I just cook it in an Instant Pot or a rice cooker. And here's a bonus. If you cook it in a rice cooker, you could have it do double duty. You could put vegetables in the steam tray and cook those along with the rice. So for example, you could cook carrots, you could cook sweet potatoes along with the rice, and suddenly you now have two sides or something that you can combine to make a meal, all, well, in the same time that it took to cook the rice. And pro tip, if you combine this and that first food, beans, for rice and beans, you have something that is a nutritional powerhouse. Those two foods complement each other, and well, there's a reason that rice and beans are so popular throughout the world, because they not only taste great, but together they form a really nutritious meal. Heck, we even used rice to make mochi. Remember that? No Cheap Eats episode would be complete without pasta. I mean, come on, who has not had a big bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, or just spaghetti and pasta sauce? I mean, it is so inexpensive, and the great thing, again, here, there's so many varieties. Not just the types of pasta, everything from spaghetti and fettuccine to penne and elbows, but, well, the types you can buy these days. I'm gluten-free, so we have gluten-free pasta in my household, but you can also buy pasta made from lentils and chickpeas and so many other various ingredients. And of course, pasta can be eaten alone, or it can be made into another dish, something like macaroni and cheese. You can get creative with pasta and do something like my air fryer pasta, which, well, was a whole new twist on pasta because it made it nice and crunchy. And here's a pro tip. When you cook your pasta in the water, you can also add other ingredients, just like we did when we were talking about rice. So for example, you can drop some carrots in that water, and by the time the pasta is done, so will the carrots, and suddenly you have a bulked up recipe that now has more vegetables as well. Chicken is a great source of protein. It's delicious and it can be cooked a lot of different ways. But let's be real. If you buy something like boneless, skinless chicken breasts, well, that stuff can get really expensive. So my go-to chicken pieces are often legs and thighs. Now, pound for pound, those are usually less expensive, and well, I find them even more delicious because they're dark meat versus light meat. Again, there's no wrong answer here, but if you're trying to stretch your budget and you like chicken, those are great ways to go. You can also get something like chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, if you don't want to be paying extra for bones. Now, these can be cooked a lot of different ways. They can be grilled, they can be fried, they can be stewed, you can make chicken soup out of them. And here's where you might actually want the bones. You don't have to waste those. Just like what we did with that rotisserie chicken where we got more mileage out of it, well, you can use those bones to, well, do other things. You can make soup with them. Heck, I even throw them in a pot of beans when I'm making beans to add extra nutrition and flavor. And remember, something like chicken thighs, you can buy these with the skin on, and if you don't want the skin, you can always just tear that off. What I usually do is, well, I fry that up and I use it as a treat for my dogs. They love it. And finally, we have oats. Now, of course, you really can't get a less expensive meal than oatmeal for breakfast. It's great, it's satisfying, it's nutritious, but oats can be used for a lot of different things. You know, if you've ever had an oatmeal raisin cookie, you know that oats are used in those. You can make oat bars with them. Heck, I even put oats in my smoothies in the morning. Remember, these are actually pre-cooked, so technically they can be eaten right out of the box. And what I do is I just put a handful in my smoothie, I roll it up, and well, I get a thicker, more satisfying, and more nutritious smoothie that way. But oats are great. You can use them in so many things. Heck, last week we made gruel with them. And of course, there's different types of oats in addition to old-fashioned. There's steel cut, there's instant oats, there's quick cooking oats. They're all pretty inexpensive, but for my money, well, I usually just can't beat old-fashioned oats. You can buy these things in bulk and just put them in a big jar like this. They'll be ready whenever you need them. So there you go. Those are 5 foods that can really help stretch your family's food budget. They can go a long way. They can satisfy so many cravings, and they're just so flexible. You can do so many things with them. But there's probably a few that I didn't mention that you're thinking about right now. What are they? What foods do you use to help feed your family for just a few dollars? I would love to hear. Be sure to put that in the comments below. Okay, trivia time. Last week I asked you to identify this strange looking device, this cast iron vessel, and well, I can't get anything by you. Several of you recognize this as a shrimp cooker. I bought this thing at the thrift store a while back. Admittedly, I haven't used it yet, but I like the concept. Apparently, you put the shrimps in here, you cook them, and you get some nice cast iron cooked shrimp. So I still need to use this thing. Maybe I'll make a quick video on it if I do. But congratulations to everybody who correctly identified this as a cast iron shrimp cooker. For this week's culinary trivia, we have a phrase, and I want to know if you can identify it. It is the French term for when we cook something in parchment paper. If you know what it is, or if you have a guess, put it in the comments below, and I will of course let you know the correct answer in the next episode. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode on 5 ways to stretch your family's food dollar, you're gonna love this video on how to save money at the grocery store. Be sure to check it out.